First up, we're going to have a look at IMO. It's the International Maritime Organization. It's a United Nations agency which regulates safety of shipping within the maritime industry. And they have a convention called MARPOL, or technically known as the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, or abbreviated MARPOL, or Marine Pollution. So the purpose of MARPOL is to provide the regulatory framework for prevention of marine pollution, and there's many different annexes. We're going to be focusing on 4 of them. First one, Annex 1, the prevention of pollution by oil. Annex 4, the prevention of pollution by sewage. Annex 5, prevention of pollution by garbage. And 6, prevention of air pollution.
The oceans are the very foundation of human life. Covering over 70% of the Earth's surface, not only have the oceans always been a prime source of nourishment for the life they helped generate, but from earliest recorded history they have served for trade and commerce, adventure and discovery. Undoubtedly, the ships that navigate the globe and the able men and women who construct and crew them are living proof of human ingenuity and courage. Shipping today is perhaps the most international of the world's industries, serving more than 90% of global trade. The expanse of the globe seas is also, through the instrumentality of ships, a means of convergence between continents and countries. The mighty and magnificent oceans are, however, also a poignant reminder of the tragic loss of lives at sea and of the irreparable damage caused throughout the years to the marine environment. Images of the past haunt us and help us recall in our memories those who have lost their lives at sea, and those who have laboured and those who continue to labour to improve standards towards safer shipping and cleaner oceans. Because of the international nature of the shipping industry, it had long been acknowledged that action to improve safety in maritime operations would be more effective if carried out at an international level, rather than by individual countries acting unilaterally and without coordination with others. Several countries proposed that a permanent international body should be established to promote maritime safety more effectively. However, it was not until the establishment of the United Nations itself that these hopes were realized. In 1948, an international conference in Geneva adopted a convention formally establishing the Intergovernmental Maritime Consultative Organization, or IMCO, which in 1982 became known as the IMO, the International Maritime Organization.
As you're aware, AMSA have the responsibility to administer the MARPOL requirements within Australia, and they have on their website the summary of discharge standards. Okay, so the requirements for Annex 1 in oil pollution are that there is no discharge of oil. And so what do we do with bilge water? We've got 2 options, and we can hold it in a bilge holding tank and discharge it to a shore-based receptacle, or we can, the regulation under AMSA was that we can have an approved system that we can use while we're en route that has a discharge of oil less than 15 parts per million. So the equipment that we would use to do that is an oily water separator that has a oil content monitor, which ensures that our oil content discharge is less than 15 parts per million. So in 1 million parts of bilge water, there's less than 15 of those as oil going through. Okay, so here's an oily water separator that has 2 stages. We get our bilge water coming through here. It uses gravity, so the oil floats to the top, and we have all these series of plates which funnel any of the oil droplets that catch on these plates and flow upwards in here, and then we've got a probe which detects when there's oil and can discharge that through into a oily holding tank via a solenoid. The second stage, the clean water goes through in the second stage through a set of coalescer filters which open up the oil particles and allow them to float by gravity up to the top, and so it goes through these filters and then out through a oil content monitor which determines and makes sure that our oil is less than 15 ppm, or it recirculates it back to the bilge holding tank, or may stop the pump completely. Here's the summary discharge standards from AMSA for Annex 4 sewage, and here we have for all vessels where there's comminuted and disinfected sewage using an approved system. So comminuted means basically ground up with a pump. So with that type of system, it's permitted as long as it's outside of 3 nautical miles of land, and if it comes from a holding tank, then it's got to have been proceeding en route or underway. For sewage that is not treated, then for all vessels, it's permitted outside of 12 miles. If it comes from a holding tank, then again, it's got to be proceeding en route or underway. For all vessels using a sewage treatment plant, STP, then basically you're permitted to discharge anywhere, providing that there are no floaters or discoloration of the water. But the local ports may prohibit discharge. So as we saw from the summary from Annex 4, basically there's 3 scenarios for us. We may have a sewage treatment plant, STP, an approved sewage system that has a macerator and a chemical treatment, or we may have untreated sewage. Okay, so with the sewage treatment plant, discharge was allowed anywhere unless a specific port had ruled otherwise. A sewage system could be used within outside of 3 miles of the coast, providing it was underway. And then untreated sewage could be discharged outside of 12 miles of the coast, again underway if it was from a sewage treatment plant. Just going to show the difference between a sewage system and a sewage treatment plant. So this is a sewage system, just has a macerator pump and has a disinfectant, which is mostly chlorine is used. Hydrogen peroxide can be used as well. Here's a sewage treatment plant, and it's in 3 stages there. The first stage has an aeration from an air blower. Second stage removes some of the solids, has a weir system into cleaner water that uses chlorine dosing and discharge overboard.